Thank you, James, for the introduction. It is my honor and pleasure here to see lots of young faces. Now we have first presentation from our speaker, Dr. Pranati. She is a marketing and communication specialist with a strong academic background. She pursued her master in international management from YES-SSE Business School at Barcelona, including an exchange with the Asian Institute of Management, Manila. She is also certified in import-export management from the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade and Digital Marketing from Dallas School of Internet Marketing. She is currently supporting the branding, communication, and assisting in multi-shareholder engagement with national and international agency for Parinaama Development Foundation. Let me pass the stage to Dr. Pranati. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Doctor, for that introduction. It was wonderful and it's making me seem like such a accomplished person, but I'm really not. I'm just starting out. And yeah, so hi, everyone. I'm Pranati from Parinaama Development Foundation based out of New Delhi in India. And we're working mostly in the eastern states in India. And I'll just start my presentation and we'll go from there. Yeah, just a second. Right, so a little bit about our organization. Parinaama started in 2012 and right now it's been about 8 to 9 years more or less. And we started out initially with the eastern states, or let's say we started out with one state, which is Odisha, wherein our founder, Dr. Madhavi, had initially started working there like a few years ago, and she saw a lot of poverty, and it was extremely difficult for her to see that. And therefore, she decided to do some actual implementation programs in Odisha. So that was our basic, that was our basis, and that's where we started. And then from there, over the last 8 to 9 years, we have moved across to 4 states in India, and our head office is currently in New Delhi. So the main vision, the main goal is obviously to have a completely a gender equitable society, a sustainable society, and inequality was one of like the most prominent things that we really wanted to cover and we really wanted to focus on. And of course, our mission is to assist all of these marginalized communities and help them be financially sustainable and to be and to have like a better quality of life at the end of the day. And we started with our focus areas would be like livelihoods, water, health and sanitation, and health and nutrition. So while we initially started out with livelihoods, like skill development in different sectors, we also indulged a bit in water and sanitation projects, and of course, health and nutrition along with it. How we started doing these projects is by creating micro enterprises. Now, what are micro enterprises? They're basically social enterprises that we started creating in the communities with the people in the community. So the first step is obviously mobilization. We go to the communities, we collect all of these people, we divide them into groups, and we have sessions with them, telling them and informing them of the different activities that are available that we can provide to them. And in some way, we're hoping to build some interest. And once we have a large number of people, or at least like a good number of people to form a group, we start training them in different skills that we can provide them in each of the locations. So right now for the micro enterprises, we have about 5 major fields where we're working in. The first is, of course, the sewing and garment units, which we started like 6 years ago, and it was the first micro enterprise that we established. Then we started delving into Mithila art, which is an art form based out of Bihar in India. And it's a dying art form. all of the young people like us obviously would like to move away from the villages, move away from where we're living and go find work in better places. So that's the main motive, which is why this art form is dying. At the same time, those people who are still in the villages, they're not really forming an interest in this art form. So therefore, we started classes, Mithila art classes, wherein we're getting all of these young people or children of Mithila artists, and we're training them in this art, hopefully trying to revive this art form in some way or the other. Then we have a soap unit, wherein we're teaching them production, where we're training groups of people in soap production, how to make soaps, and at the same time also giving them modules and giving them classes on hand washing, the importance of maintaining hygiene, the importance of maintaining cleanliness. And with that, we also set up a sanitary napkins unit, wherein we're trying to provide low-cost sanitary napkins for all the women in the village. Sanitary napkins is still not as widely used, and it's still not really in the villages. It's still very difficult to push this agenda. However, the government has started this initiative in schools, wherein they're giving sanitary napkins away for free. And of course, due to COVID, all of that has come to a stop, and we're really trying to distribute as much as we can right now. And hopefully we're trying, be able to push this agenda of menstrual health management and teach all of the people in the village. And finally, we have, of course, mushrooms, about which we're going to talk a little more today. And so the mushrooms unit, we're running them currently in Ranchi in Jharkhand and in Madhubani in Bihar. And the main motive, we started out as an income generation activity. Now, why mushrooms? Because mushrooms is, first of all, it has very low input cost. And secondly, it's one of the easiest farming activities that you can take up because you do not require any land. Now, in rural areas, in most of these places, there is currently a big scarcity of available land or ownership of land. So therefore, mushrooms is something that you can grow inside your house itself. And it's also a form of income generation and a form of food for yourself. Even if you do not want to go out in the market and you want to sell it, at least you can grow it for yourself and your own family. So that's why we started with mushrooms initially. So we divided the mushroom project into 3 parts. First part is, of course, training in mushroom farming, where we're teaching them how to grow mushrooms from the beginning. Second is that we're running a micro enterprise development program for the unit, and for the units. And thirdly, of course, we're having external advocacy and stakeholder engagement, that is with external elements in this whole business. We of course, in the last 2 years, we've been able to train about 550 people and get to about 100 people in the MEDP program. Right. So for the training in mushroom farming, how we're training is that we're giving them lessons in, not just how to grow, but also in defining quantities and measurements, calculating the costs, how much they need to put in, how much they can get, and how to make it into a functioning business for themselves. So that's the main idea of training in mushroom farming. And then, of course, it is to increase productivity, increase revenue in some sustainable way, and that's the focus. So what we're also doing apart from this in training is that after the beneficiaries are trained, we provide them some hand-holding support. We try to provide them some kind of support, wherein we're giving them kits, like a mushroom kit or something that we're making and giving them, which is like an initial investment from our side for them. So that we're doing free of cost, wherein they can take that initial investment and create that into something else. So they don't have to put in the input cost on their own. So that's the first step that we've taken right now, especially for those people who are below poverty line, who really are unable to put in even the basic input cost that's needed. In the micro enterprise development program. Now, for this program, what we're doing is we have external consultants or people from our organization itself who are collecting these groups, these trainees itself in our in the mushroom farming business itself, and we're trying to encourage some form of collaboration or some form of partnership. We teach them about various credit facilities that are available. We teach them about various schemes that are available given by the government, which will enable them to function faster, to function in a better way, which will also provide them basic input cost, which would help them sell the product too. So we're trying to enable these producer groups to sustain themselves and at the end, of course, have a better standard of living. So so not just training, we're also trying to provide this kind of support wherein they have a continuous way, wherein at least they can meet and they can talk and they can collaborate with each other. We'll also introduce them to different vendors and different political representatives in the community itself, like the village representatives and district representatives, so that they can firsthand introduce themselves and try to, of course, push this agenda. So just a few pictures from our center. They've all been a part of our team for the last 4 to 5 years, at least now. And another thing is that most of these people are below 30. About 80% of our beneficiaries, of our participants, are below 30. So we can imagine how many young people are eager to learn farming practices also. It's not just that, because these are all people from the villages. And while, of course, everybody is moving out to towns, there are a lot of people who are still there, who are still eager to work. And they're all uneducated. So therefore, it's extremely tricky place to, it's tricky to teach them. Hoping that they understand everything. So we're literally starting from the basic. And as you can see, it's not just mushrooms that they're growing. These are all innovations from the field. We have absolutely no participation in any of these. This is like one day our team just sent us a picture and they just said, look at all of the things that we've made. And it was a complete surprise for us. So it's not just raw mushrooms. They're also making powders, they're making pickles, they're making snacks out of it. So it's not just the raw form that they are producing, they're also creating these different forms from the mushrooms itself. So this really seemed like a big achievement for us, given that we just gave them one nudge, gave them just a little bit of input cost, and this is what they've created from it. So it was extremely interesting to see that. And they've also started participating now in different fairs and exhibitions that are being held locally. This is, of course, 2019 pre-COVID. Since COVID has started, it has affected us greatly, and we haven't really been able to participate in any exhibition or anything of such sort. But this is just an example of how they're also coming out of their comfort zone into the markets and being able to sell their products. These are some of the meetings that we've had, the district level meetings that we've had. These are all district officials or part of the government. And a lot of these people are from the village who we've mobilized, who are a part of our program. And they're just given a brief introduction about the program, what we do, and how they can help. So this is also a way to give, like, start introductions and start a face-to-face with the government itself, like it's usually they wouldn't get this opportunity, but because now they're working as a part of Parinaama, or because they've been trained in something, they had this opportunity to come face to face with an official from the government. They're able to ask or demand for their for something that they need. So this has also been a great way to interact with the officials. Right. So next steps, like what exactly are we doing now that we've trained and now that we've got these taught these participants how to create a business out of it, how to get the schemes. What next in terms of Parinaama? For us, what next? So the main goal, of course, is to collectivize these farmers and create producer groups. Now, they're all individual people who we've, of course, taken from the village, right? Like that was the first step of mobilization, and we've trained them. Now, we aim to create these big producer groups wherein these women can participate and can pool in all their resources, pool in all their final produce, and try to sell it as a group in the market. This will help us also stop these competitive pricings, because right now in the villages, somebody, like if two people are selling, one is selling for a higher price, one is selling for a lower price. So obviously, you know, like the business of a little, like even if it's a 5 to 10 rupee difference, it becomes a lot in these villages. So therefore, maybe creating these producer groups will help us try and, you know, get a standard pricing set, and which would be beneficial for everyone. So what we would want to do is provide raw material support and continuous handholding, continuous mentoring for these groups, because we've often seen that once we train them and they leave, a lot of the times they're maybe not taking up this opportunity. Maybe they're not really completely utilizing the opportunity. So therefore, we want to provide continuous support wherein they can always come to the center, they can always come to us, and we can help them with any difficulty or issue that they have. So we're right now providing raw material support and mentoring. And we want to, this is for the future, of course, we want to buy back the products ourselves. Like what we're trying to do is give them the input cost, allow them to go home, make these bags at home, and then come back to us and sell it to us directly, wherein we become their market. And then we can collect the whole produce and then sell it ourselves at in the market. So this would help them not have to, you know, like search for a market, search for people, and it would ensure that their produce will get sold. A lot of the times, people in the village, they have a lot of doubt as to how they're going to sell the produce, if whether or not their stock will be over, whether or not they'll be able to reach X number of bags of mushrooms, etc. So when we offer the buyback system, this would enable them to have a little more confidence, because they know that we are there to buy the produce, buy the complete produce. So therefore, I think it'll make it a little bit more easier for them itself. And the new challenges are, of course, we have to assure quality, we have to assure you know, if we're getting individual people to give us and sell us their product, we have to ensure the quality. Then we also have to ensure commitment, that if we want a particular amount which a vendor has seeked, like let's say 500 kilograms per month, then we need to deliver 500 kilograms, and for that we need to ensure commitment from our trainees. So that's very tricky again. And of course, to have like a stable market, to have proper vendors, to have orders, and for us to be able to have enough funds to buy back the products. So that's the basic idea. And for that, we have already started a lot of advocacy, and a lot of we've started meeting a lot of the stakeholders. We have multiple public and private partnerships. For example, right now we started partnerships. We've started the first meetings, or like initial, the first meetings with all of these groups. We have partnerships with the farmer producer companies. We also have a partnership with the district administration. So district agriculture department, district horticulture department. We've really tried to at least have a few meetings with these people from different public and private enterprises, so that it enables us to, at the end, of course, try to form some form of collaboration. So, of course, at the end of it, what we're trying to do is trying to create partnerships and push these initiatives, which with the focus of women-owned and youth-owned enterprises. And the final question, which is which SDGs are being directly addressed by us. We're currently addressing number 3, number 5, number 6, and number 10. We have obviously good health and well-being. And because we're really trying to promote good health, we're trying to promote lesser malnutrition, and mushrooms is one of the biggest ways in which we can impact good health. Secondly, we're also equally participative in gender equality, because we're really trying to push the women's agenda. And then we have clean water and sanitation. We recently also did a complete sanitary complex project with Rhythm Foundation, which was to build a sanitary complex in a village which had really a few number of toilets. So that's where we've also put into clean water and sanitation. We also have our soap and sanitary napkins project, which are a big part of it. And of course, at the end, it all comes down to reducing inequality. We really want to create, as our mission said, we really want to create a sustainable and equal kind of a world. So that's about it from us. Thank you so much. And I hope I was clear enough, and I hope you all kind of at least understood the gist of what Parinaama is doing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Pranati. I'm so impressed with your organization about the scale of the scale of the service, the training, and also the market. Actually, I'm very interested in the project and want to know much more. However, because of the time allocation, maybe we let the next speaker to have the presentation first, and we will leave all the Q&A in the later parts. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.